Greetings, beautiful people. I want to make this quick video on this, this debates on salts and sodium and all that. Now, real quick, okay, when it comes to salts, okay, the salts, apparently, there's a big marketing with we should be ingesting pink Himalayan salt. And let me tell you something, okay, whether it's pink Himalayan salt, sea salt, Celtic salt, or whatever it may be, it's still from the soil. If you hear the word soil, like, somebody soiled their pants, is because that's shit, you know what I mean? Soil, okay, or salts come from the dirt. You're not going to put dirt in your water, okay? And if you look at the word dirt, backwards it's turd, okay? Dogs shit on the dirt, okay? Now, when dogs shit on the dirt, or if you have, let's say, excess scraps or, stuff that you want to add to the soil or the dirt to mineralize that dirt, what's going to happen is that when a plant grows, okay, it's going to bear fruit, and it's going to process and absorb those minerals from the soil to the fruits. And voila, you don't need to put the dirt in the water, because now what happens is that the minerals is in the fruit along with not only distilled water, but life force, okay? See, there's no life force in dirt, okay? So I'm very big on eating living electromagnets. You see, we're electromagnetic beings. So I'm big on eating life, because you could think better, you could respond better, you could react better, you could learn faster, you can give good information, you know what I mean? You're not so gullible, which is, these are important things, because here's the thing. Too much salt actually is a leading cause in memory loss, brain fog, and multiple sclerosis, which is actually a problem even in your spinal cord. If you want to have a Kundalini awakening, that'll be a problem for you. It causes psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, and these are all, big problems. And supposedly, here's the thing though, the table salt has about what, 3,400 milligrams of sodium. Then you have the sea salt, which has 2,200 milligrams, and then pink Himalayan salt has 1,700 milligrams. And people are like, wow, pink Himalayan salt, only 1,700 milligrams. And there's marketing that there's trace minerals in there. But here's the thing. The trace minerals are so minute that it'll actually cause nothing in the body to happen, because they're so minute. You would have to ingest so much of that salt to even make a difference in the minerals that it has. Okay? Now, here's the big problem though. Now the people are going to ingest more of that pink Himalayan salt, and they're going to go way over their sodium intake as comparison to when they were taking the table salt. Okay? So much so that I just recently heard some people saying that, a girl was ingesting the salt just because she liked it along with alcohol. Okay? And do you know that this causes confusion, brain fog, dementia and stuff like that? And probably she was doing this because she liked it and she didn't know any better, because the brain wasn't functioning properly. Okay? And the fact that it causes brain fog, maybe it causes people to talk very slow also. Like, people talk really slow, and sometimes, it'll take them like 45 to 50 minutes to say something, and they end up speaking a whole lot of nothing in that video. And this is the problem, man, because see, the conscious community should be more about building. Like, you build, you know what I mean? You don't call anybody out if you have a certain belief, because everything is a belief, everything's a perception. Then this is why you have YouTube videos that you could put up. You could make a channel and put that information. Some people will subscribe to that. See, because this is what I notice about people. People subscribe. It's subscript. They're under somebody's script. See, people like to follow a lot. You know what I mean? And these are subscriptors. See, this is why the conscious community, even Sublimity, talks about follow the light. You know what I mean? But follow what light? Everybody's a superstar. We all shine. That's why they call superstars in Hollywood superstars, because everybody knows who they are. You look up in the sky, everybody can see the same motherfucking star. You know what I mean? But what light do you shine? Are you shining a light to blind people, or are you shining a light to guide people? Now, If you're annoyed, for example, and this is one lesson I've learned on what somebody speaks about in a channel, then you have the option to not subscribe to it or not watch it. You know what I mean? But you know why I believe that the sodium thing should be spoken about? Because everybody is so misinformed, and I believe that this is the reason why people can't think clearly and people are controlled. Because you see, you can raise the electrical properties with salt, but you need a battery. But this is the reason why people's minds are controlled, because you see, there's a lot of EMF pollution, a lot of garbage going on in the air, right? So you're not getting universal codes coming through you. You're getting the closest thing coming to you, which is the EMF pollution that's going on, and especially with 5G coming out now. All right, if you study the chemtrails, there's barium, strontium, and aluminum in there. Okay, all these heavy metals. Okay, and along with the garbage sodium that you take, this is what happens. See, this argument to me is like, there's a toxicity level to sodium, okay? But there's also a toxicity level to fluoride. You know what I mean? And yet, people still want to argue that fluoride is good for your teeth. But there's a book of studies showing that it's a neurotoxin, and especially for people who are in the know, it's a neurotoxin, but it's also detrimental to your pineal gland, which is the main connection to your spiritual realm. You know what I mean? Now, it is also, if you want to look at it in the physical level, responsible for your hormones and your circadian rhythm. This is why people are controlled also, because you see, we're bound by time here. You know what I mean? And the fact that we're bound by time and you cannot connect to your circadian rhythm, all right, which is your natural clock, your body's biological clock, all right? They want you to follow the clock that was made by man out here in this 3D realm reality. So you think the outside world is the real world. And this is the problem when it comes to what we eat, you see, or what we ingest. See, not only are we eating food that's toxic, but we ingest toxicity through our ears. And I don't like watching that toxicity going around, you know what I mean? So I believe that there should be more of a light shed. You see, here's the thing. It's not about, you know, it's shedding a light. It's not fear mongering or anything. It's shedding a light on a problem, man. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a problem with this fluoride, then I think more people should be talking about it. The reason things happen to everybody in society is because of the silence, and the silence is consent. And the reason it's consent is because it's ignorance. And either they ignore the problem, which is why they're ignorant, or they too lazy to look up information, which is why, you know, I'm kind of mind blown by people going on YouTube saying, hey, you know, you should put up more studies on this, or there hasn't been anybody who's died from sodium intake. Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because for a person to die on sodium intake, it would have to take a 1.4 pounds of sodium or salt to actually die. You know what I mean? But it only takes 5 milligrams of fluoride to literally call the poison control center. Yet we brush our teeth with that. We drink the fluoridated water. Okay, a child is a lot smaller, and we brush their teeth with fluoride. I mean, they most likely are swallowing that shit because they don't know any better than to spit it out. You know what I mean? But that's ignorance. You know what I mean? The same way we ingest these salts, it's also ignorance. You know what I mean? Maybe if people stop eating salts, they can speak a lot faster, they can retain information better, they can like literally do their own research and look up information and learn something, you know what I mean? But you don't eat dirt, you eat what the earth gives you. See, the earth processes it for you, so you ingest that. The sun gives it the life force, okay? Even the foods in the supermarket, you know what I mean? You think you're eating healthy, but you're really not, you know what I mean? Like even the waters, they talk about the living waters, all right? See, the waters you buy in the supermarket, even the ones that are distilled, it's still sitting there. It's dead water. I'm all about ingesting life force. That's why the urine is so powerful, because that's moving in your system. See, what happens when you ingest too much salt, it actually dehydrates you. And what happens, you see, you're made of water. You're made of 80 to 85% water, and I believe it's more. You're made of 4 elements: carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen. Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. And hydrogen, carbohydrates. That should be your main fuel, and that comes from fruits. The minerals come from fruits. The distilled water comes from fruits. The urine comes from you. The water should come from you. A lot of people are so concerned with the water being poisoned. Then drink your own motherfucking water. Urine is 95% water, and then the rest of the 5% is what you got to worry about. But if you're eating clean, that 5% is just stem cells, trace minerals, you know what I mean? Stuff that your body actually needs. You know what I mean? People want to eat meat. And when you eat meat, that's eating death. And what happens when you eat death? You can't absorb information. You can't retain information. Okay? And you are what you eat. That's the reason why. When you eat life force, then you're alive. You eat foods that make you, that you're alive. You retain that information. See, there's so much stuff out there that we should be more concerned with than what somebody else is talking about on YouTube. And this is what kind of concerns me with the conscious community, man. You know what I mean? Like, even if something bothers, like if I don't like what I'm listening to sometimes on a video, I'll just turn it off and change the video. Because it's energy draining to even have to either watch because energy flows where attention goes. So I'm feeding my energy into that video and I don't like it. But yet I'm staying there watching it. No, I'll just leave. You know what I mean? And if I'm going to, you know, feed into that information, then I'm forming my world. That's why they call it information. You know what I mean? And if it bothers what they're talking, then you know you have a channel. Create your own light, man. You know what I mean? You go into the darkness. You make the light. You know what I mean? Just make the videos maybe 10-15 minutes. You speed up to talk a little faster and eat less salt, and that's it. You know what I mean? It's not a video to insult anybody. It's a video to, you know, empower you in the now. You know what I mean? Empower you in the now. I don't understand the whole beef. I mean, salt should be ingested from beets. And it actually, you see, here's the big problem, man. As a matter of fact, let me look something up over here. Okay? See, I was doing some research. Because, you see, everybody wants to think left brain and wants to see research and studies and all that. Meanwhile, you know, you could do this shit yourself. But according to the Harvard Health publications, the average American consumes 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day, when your body needs less than 5% of that, or 200 milligrams. Okay? For daily functions and fluid maintenance, the American Heart Association recommends consuming less than 1,500 milligrams of sodium. Okay? Now, this is from Healthier Michigan, and you can look this up yourself on Google. Okay? Now, I was also looking up on the sodiumbreakup.com, heart.org, I mean. The body only needs a small amount of sodium, less than 500 milligrams per day to function properly. All right? There's no reliable evidence that eating less than 1,500 milligrams of sodium is a risk for general population. There is some evidence that it could be harmful to certain patients with cognitive heart failure. Or, I'm sorry, congestive heart failure. Okay? And check this out. If you eat too much salt, the extra water stored in your body raises your blood pressure. So the more salt you eat, the higher your blood pressure. The higher your blood pressure, the greater the strain on your heart, arteries, kidneys, and the brain. This can lead to heart attacks, strokes, dementia, and kidney disease. The brain. What does salt do to your brain? The brain gets affected because it raises the blood pressure caused by eating too much salt, may damage the arteries leading to the brain. At first, it may cause a slight reduction in the amount of blood reaching the brain, which may lead to dementia known as vascular dementia through time. So you see, it doesn't kill you right away if you're ingesting this unnecessary amount every day, but it is killing you little by little. Okay? Now, here's the crazy part. Okay? Check this out. This was pretty interesting what I was reading here. Okay? See, the excess salts triggered a response in their small intestine. Okay? It started to produce large amounts of Th17, a type of white blood cell involved in the immune system. Involved with the immune system. This led to a higher level of another component in the immune system, a protein called IL-17. Now, why a protein? Because protein is responsible for repair and growth. So what's happening is that protein is needed whenever there's a problem. So your body starts to create all these different types of proteins. Okay? Now, it says here that when the body produces too much IL-17, it can no longer supply enough of a chemical called nitric oxide. You know when you go to the gym and you get that pump? Nitric oxide, which is made by the cell lining blood vessels. When nitric oxide levels drop, blood vessels cannot relax, which leads to less blood flow to the brain. Your brain is made of water. You have water in your brain, okay? So what is water? Memory. So when you dehydrate that and get rid of that, then you're losing your memory, light and water, okay? You need nitric oxide for the brain to work properly, all right? This discovery that salt can lead to memory loss and thinking problems via the reaction in the gut is exciting, says neurologist David Hafler, who was involved in the study. This showed that the dietary influence may be a major influence in vascular dementia. Okay? It says demonstrating that the excess salt levels boost the levels of Th17 and influence the development of multiple sclerosis. The discovery that may explain the rise in other autoimmune diseases like psoriasis, inflammatory bowel disease, and rheumatoid arthritis. This is all in WebMD. You can look this up yourself. You know what I mean? But aside from that, the sodium should be coming from foods. Now, the same way that our extrasensory perceptions were dormant because of words that were spoken to us the moment we came out of our mother's womb, okay, is the reason we cannot speak telepathically, the reason why we do everything in a masculine way, where we listen with these ears, you know, see with these eyes, smell with these nostrils. But notice how all this is not, you're not doing it out. You're receiving sound, you're receiving light, you're receiving scent, all right? But nobody correlates with what we put in our mouth with information. That's the problem. So the salts that you're eating in the dirt is not life force. The salts or the sodium that you ingest from the greens, that's life force. The minerals that you ingest from the fruits that come out of the plant that are being hit by the sun rays, that's life force. The minerals that are coming from the pink Himalayan salt, which is so minute and small, there's no life force in there. And I'm all about life force. I'm all about ingesting life. You know what I mean? All right? And I'm all about going into the dark. Embrace the dark, like Star Wars. You don't know the power of the dark side. But why? Because from as dark as you can go, you could create a higher light. See, I don't follow and subscribe to nobody's shit. I do my own research. You know what I mean? I did a video on what my theory of round earth, flat earth is. If you're interested in that, go check that out. Okay? I'll show you what a real judge does, because when two people debate, here's what happens. Those two people are closed-minded. The one who benefits is the observer or the judge. Okay? You see, I'm the judge and I get to decide what route I want to take. Okay? And if I feel like dismissing both cases, then I will. Okay? And create my own light. And that's what a real God does. Okay? But here's the thing. I'm also the type that if something is not to my liking, I have the option to just turn it off. But calling people out is just kind of whack. You know what I mean? Especially when we're trying to build a community. You know what I mean? If you feel some way about information that you may have came down to, or you know, then that's why some people will subscribe to that, and they could be under your script, subscript, under your script. You know what I mean? But you see, I write my own script. You know what I mean? And this is what I think that we should be very open-minded about, is really just building from our information. You know what I mean? Not putting it online and calling it. All it did was just put everybody in a lower vibration, and it got people to, oh, let me get into this, let's see what's happening. Now I got people interested in the beef. Instead of, rather than getting in there and learning, then they just came out. Sometimes when there's lives and there's nothing but shit spoken on there, I just come off. I don't really need to be on there, because sometimes I'll stay on because sometimes I'm in the mood to listen to, you know, people bullshitting and I want to be entertained. But if it's shit that's gonna like lower my vibration and I feel like it's gonna lower the vibration of the conscious community, or, you know what I mean, because I listen, consciousness is about being aware of what you're listening to, eating, and even what you're ingesting. And if you think that the salts are good for you, then hey man, sometimes you need to do a little more research, and maybe it's not even doing the research online. Maybe it's just going within and trying to find that wisdom and get that proper download. Because that's what I did. I didn't just listen. I thought that pink Himalayan salt was good until I did a little research, and then I started to tap in, and it started to download on me. You know what I mean? And that's it, man. I mean, 20 minutes. I think I've said enough information, and you know, if you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel as well. And that's it, man. Empower yourself in the now. That's what I'm all about. I'm not really about none of that other bullshit. So